Today we have Michael Goff, Paul Koken, or PK, and Tom McDonald with American Eagle to discuss how they provide secure support across AWS and private environments. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for that introduction. Again, my name is Tom McDonald. I'm part of the product team here at American Eagle Managed Cloud Services. And I'm going to approach this in a kind of a streamlined manner. All this training content will be available in a longer form. We are available on demand as needed to support you. But the intention of this particular session is just to give you kind of the problem in the market and how we solve it and where our differentiators are. So in the marketplace right now, cloud environments and businesses are becoming increasingly complex, and that has to do with a number of reasons. Primarily, there's more data being processed in more places, more uses of the data on the edge, and for AI, there's a lot driving data where it's located as far as compliance. So that means there's duplicate data or more data in more places. And what companies have done is they've actually created environments that are really quite marvelous in what their capabilities are by combining the best of the different cloud providers. So you can have somebody like AWS who's really good at infrastructure or maybe AI, or you build on Microsoft and you want to have Azure as your development platform. You want to use Google as your analytics or Oracle as your databases. These kind of applications have been kind of spread out all over the internet, all over the cloud, I should say, in the last several years. And that's great because the capabilities are really personalized. And I'm really talking about kind of some of these specialized core apps that companies built to run their businesses on, either for their customers or internally. But what's happened is this increasing complexity is kind of scaled beyond the capabilities of the either the service provider or the internal IT teams. They're running into situations where costs are going up, not only because resources are being thrown at these problems ad hoc to solve the problems, but just because some of the bells and whistles to control the costs are buried in the software layers. And one of the things that you'll find is that cloud service providers and IT teams are really good at the infrastructure, not so good at the software. That's where we come in. American Eagle Managed Cloud Services is a division of AmericanEagle.com, which is one of the pioneering firms to put commercial sites on the web over 30 years ago. And in the beginning, we were housing all of this capability in our own data centers. And as all these special components and tools to build websites move to the cloud, whether they be CMS systems, CDN systems, all the parts of a website move to the cloud. So we got really good at managing web applications and digital applications. And that's where the core strength to manage today's complex environments comes from. We've been doing this for quite a long time. So what happens is these teams that are tied up in tactical and maintenance mode trying to manage costs kind of get freed up when we handle the whole cloud environments. That means their IT and development teams can go back to being more strategic, less tactical. Productivity goes up, and typically we pay for ourselves and then some for these types of services. In some cases we're looking at a 250 to 300% ROI, and I'll send you an example of that when we're done here today. Any questions thus far? Good. Okay. Our target customer ideally are above 50 million. We really want to get to those who have a cloud spend of about 10K per month. And typically it's fluctuating. That's part of the problem. One of the things that we look for are more complicated cloud environments. We'll certainly manage single cloud or hybrid cloud. A hybrid cloud being where I have a part of my workload in the public cloud and part of it in a private cloud, or hybrid clouds where I'm actually managing both. I think I got that mixed up. I think you follow it. Again, what are the triggers for these target customers? Rising costs, IT teams are stressed out, performance issues, the applications aren't performing as well. In that case, you get situations where you're just throwing more RAM and more processing power at it. That escalates the cost. And sometimes security gaps tend to arise. Usually that's because of the misconfigurations in the software. That's very common. So what we do is we come in with what we're calling this application-centric cloud management. That's our differentiator, is that yes, we manage the whole stack. We've built years of expertise managing our own data center, but where our focus is, because it's had to be on web development and web applications, it's at that application layer. Now, typically, I think what I'll switch over here and show you something quick. Oh, did I not? Okay, I guess I can't switch. The differentiation is typically you look at a cloud stack and you see the infrastructure, then you see infrastructure and platforms, and then you see the whole cloud stack. What's difficult to find is a provider that's going to manage your own software, the stuff that you grow and build yourself through the whole stack. And that's our differentiator, is that we will manage everything, including the internally developed applications, because we've got the software chops to do that. Because we have, major healthcare and financial services in our data center, we've got enterprise grade security up and down the line, totally compliant, both physical and cybersecurity top line. We're including high performance web hosting as part of our services, part of our core services, because that's what we grew up on. That's what we're good with. Plus the idea that we've got these senior cloud engineers, anywhere from 8 to 10 years, who've been on the team, who are going to be managing your environment. They're going to know your environment. There's going to be run books. They're going to understand it, and they're going to stay ahead of it. Plus, again, part of the AmericanEagle.com family, there's web application development. We're finding a lot of folks in the channel really need some help moving their websites, modernizing their websites to take advantage of some of the newer technologies. And we can come in and help do that as well. So if you talk about the elevator pitch, I think the idea that we're going to monitor a business's entire cloud stack all the way up through the applications, almost like a NOC or a SOC for their cloud. And typically we're going to find when we come in with our no-cost audit, we're going to identify 15 to 30%. I think that's a good place to start, offer that audit. Now that audit is a point in time. It's what we can save them at that point in time. But the idea is to move these prospects to a long-term engagement where they can have that continuous performance and cost optimization over the service. Plus, we take over the responsibility. The team gets moved from a tactical to more strategic mode. Everybody's happy. Questions? Okay, I'm going to try to switch over to another slide briefly. Yeah, so Paul, I'm going to pop over to the slides with the case studies, and you're familiar with these accounts, so I am going to let you walk through the case studies.
Okay.
You guys see that?
Not
No?
yet.
Oh, not yet. How about now?
Got it.
Okay,
Got it.
Paul, you're driving.
All right. Yeah, so we'll start with one of our larger enterprise customers, United Airlines. I'm sure everybody's familiar with them. They came to us. We do a lot of business with United Airlines from a development perspective. They're mostly a AWS shop. They have a product team, an internal product team that runs some critical applications, internal applications for their internal services that were built on, a .NET Core and an Azure stack. So they're hosted in Azure, and they were looking for someone to partner with them to help do their basically their application support and operations, since their internal shared IT teams were really focused more on AWS and their own internal data center type stack. So we came in and we overlaid not just our practices, but our monitoring tools that we've invested a lot into, and evaluated their environment. evaluate their apps, work with their internal product team to develop a deep understanding of their application, what it does, how their business uses it. So we, over time of supporting it, we went through and audited their stack and found improvements that they could make, which immediately helped them both save money, but also improve some performance issues that they were having. But then over time, we implemented like best practices around incident management, project management. We got tied into their application recovery team, and we would identify, key performance and risk issues with their product team, highlight the risk of those, and they would, over time, they were able to remediate those issues. And in the end, what happened is we were able to improve their availability. So they started for the first time meeting their internal SLAs, as these are critical apps that like run, pilot scheduling and resource management, et cetera, that's needed to keep the airlines up. But also we cleared out a lot of the problems that were causing a lot of, fixed like the signal noise ratio, where they were getting a lot of critical applications. They're getting thousands of application critical alerts a month. And we're able to clean all that up. So the signal to noise ratio is really good. When there is an alert, it usually correlates to an actual incident. And so people react to them in time, which causes them to have higher uptime. So it's been overall a great improvement for them. They actually ended up winning an internal award for improved reliability. So that's United. Who's next? Komatsu. Yeah, Komatsu was an interesting one as well. They came to us. We do development work for them. They were under a DDoS attack in their Azure environment and weren't able to stop the attack. So we've again been web hosting for 30 years. That's our bread and butter is web development, and then the hosting of critical sites like whitehouse.gov when Barack Obama was elected, which was like the biggest web launch in history. So we're very familiar with these cyber attacks. So we're able to go in there and evaluate their perimeter security. We're able to basically re-architect their security, their end security of their DDoS strategy. We replaced their tools with something better that we thought was more effective. And we were able to stop the DDoS attack. But then when we're all done, and with the re-engineered perimeter security, we ended up saving them thousands of dollars a month. Ended up reducing their costs, by a third. So which ended up covering the cost for the managed services as well. And then National Beef was another one. They had a lot of it had to do with like skill sets. They had somebody who helped them migrate to the cloud. That those resources kind of moved off. And we were brought in, we reviewed their environment, found some of their critical issues, identified inefficiencies. We're able to kind of sunset some services they weren't actually using anymore, and then really addressed how their stack was put together that improved their uptime. They basically moved to 100% uptime, freed up their internal resources instead of worrying about Azure stuff. They could work on more strategic efforts for their internal applications and ended up saving them 25% on their hosting. So
I think what's important to point out in all three of those cases is that these were really large teams in diverse business sectors that relied heavily on their cloud environments, but their own internal teams who were really good at knowing their market and their customers and what they had to develop and maintain were challenged by the cloud, either misconfigurations or security issues. It just wasn't their core competency, that maintenance and that tactical stuff, right? And that's where we come in, and that's where we're providing that significant value by freeing up the teams to focus on what they do best, taking that overhead and that burden, and then having the skill set to uncover costs that typically are not easy to find. Your cloud providers are not necessarily going to make it easy for you to uncover costs. They want you to throw more resources at it. So not only do we have the tools, but more importantly, the expertise to look across environments, regardless of where they are, and these components, and tweak and make them more secure so things run better, faster, and are more secure. So again, the benefits of these services are faster applications and happier users. Bills become more predictable, more steady, and quite often much lower. There's a lower operational drag on the internal teams, and you're always audit ready because we have this continuous compliance formula to make sure everything is ready for audits if need be. We talked about the success stories here. Again, we offer a no charge cloud audit and website audit. That means we'll not only analyze your cloud environment, but also your website and your web environment to make sure everything is running optimally. And we will, provide a actionable list of items that IT teams and development teams can go to make their environments better. Again, no charge, but where we hope is that actually becomes an ongoing service, because typically what we're going to find will scale beyond either the capabilities or the time available for a team to address them. Qualifying questions. Typically, as you would imagine for these types of environments, where are the cost of performance, hurting most in the environment? What kind of environments do you have? What we're looking for there is to find out if they've got multi-cloud environments or hybrid environments. Who's handling those environments? If it's a development team or an IT team, you can then lead that question to say, well, at the expense of what? What is that that's taking them away from their day jobs? Again, wouldn't it be great to be always prepared for an audit if one would come along? And another thing is that if in these larger companies, they're doing a lot of development, they're continuously pushing updates to the web. And if you have a lifetime of building applications on site, and you suddenly have to start doing them in the web, that becomes more difficult. We're really good at setting up those pipelines to push changes and development to the web without disrupting the current customer or the current application that's available. Pain points, CEOs and CFOs, they really want predictable spend, and they want uptime. They don't want to hear about their technology being a drag when it comes to earnings. CTOs, they want their developers to build and their IT teams to support growth, not babysitting. And everybody else in the company wants to be ready for an audit and make sure that their sites are ready to support their customers and convert leads into business. Common objections, well, we already have cloud engineers. That's great because we free them up. And we're going to give you a proven ROI. We're going to make sure that they're not bothered at 3 o'clock in the morning as well. It's not expensive. Again, we're actually paying for ourselves, and I'll send some math out to show that. And if you think you're covered by a particular cloud provider, because you use AWS or Azure, they're only looking at their cloud environment, and they're not going to do anything necessarily to say spend less here. We're fully aligned with keeping costs down and performance up with what you have. I would say that the cloud providers aren't necessarily in line with doing that. We feel like as we get more familiar with what's in the channel along these lines, we're finding that there isn't a lot, especially around the lines of differentiation. You've got hyperscalers like Tirepoint and Rackspace. Again, they're really good on the infrastructure, but I'll also say that those companies are heavily in debt because they're build outs, and that trickles down. Our data centers are fully paid for. We are privately held. We're not being pulled in any direction by private equity. We've been profitable and growing for decades straight. That's not ending anytime soon. And it's just a good place to bring your customers if they want to solve these cloud problems. Michael, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes. So here's where partners are having success with American Eagle, and that is you guys are already doing an infrastructure audit. You're already doing security audits and things like that. And this is a way that you can just tag us to your technology wheel and offer your customers a complimentary audit. And it's kind of like a cybersecurity audit, right? It's tells them where they are at this moment in time, and it tells them what improvements they can potentially have with the changes that we can make for them and host for them, along with a cloud cost audit and lowering the expenses. Website modernization combined with cloud lift and shift is trending up and to the right. And it's a real easy button discussion because AWS is overcharging, and they're the gorilla out there, and Azure and Google is charging the same. So every CIO and CTO and CFO out there are saying they're spending too much on cloud and they're not getting the performance they want, and it's not predictable. Well, American Eagle is the gold standard in this space, and we're the only one in the channel. We have a 35-year-old A-list of credibility enterprise clients like WhiteHouse.gov, Chick-fil-A, McGuire Woods, Carnival Cruise Lines, NFL teams, college teams, universities, large healthcare and financial companies, and none of these are tagged to agents because we've always only ever sold direct with direct employees, but we have a collaboration model through sales. So we're never going to tell you guys that it's a house account. You can't go in there. We're putting together a really strong agent program. Today, I just got an opportunity from a partner in Texas for their existing customer that had a $6 million AWS spend. And that's the kind of thing where we can come in and help them with security problems if they're having those, with compliance problems if their website needs to be modernized so that it takes into account the ADA requirements for the American Disabilities Act. That's kind of new this year, and there's fines going out for e-commerce websites that don't allow handicapped folks to access the website. I'll stop there.
Great. So if there are no additional questions, we will bundle up some of this material and get it to everybody by, I don't know, 3 or 4 p.m. today. Look for a PDF from us that contains what you've seen here today. We are always available, certainly for training as well as before the sale and after the sale support. I will also send out our contact information. We very much thank you for your time today, and excited to have you part of what we think is going to be a much needed solution for businesses right now, especially those enterprise businesses. So thank you.